Hey, all right, so my swimsuit videos have been slow going because I've been wanting to catch up on alteration jobs. So, my apologies. All right, today I am cutting out swimsuits. And so when I'm looking at fabric for swimsuit, I'm going to check the stretch. You always want a four-way stretch. And I guess what I'm looking for is how much more stretchier is one direction versus the other. It stretches more in this direction. So okay, I'm spreading my fabric, patting it down. I want to make sure that it's not skewed in one direction versus the other. And this probably takes a little bit. In the industry, there's a big like weight and a roller that kind of helps spread it out nice and evenly. I don't have that. It's okay. So I've got my bra cups. I'm going to use this one. This is for an H cup. And she really liked the higher waisted, more cheeky. No, it's like a leg line. What did I call it? High leg, cheeky. And so that's my back, that's my front. We're gonna do the baby doll top. Okay. So I want to start with my bottom. Whenever I'm laying out my patterns, I want to make sure that I am not wasting fabric. I'm trying to be economical with the fabric. I'm not in the business of wasting. It's just never been me. I was born on Earth Day. Reduce less, reuse. What is it? Reduce, reuse, recycle. So I'm going to come through. I'm going to see if I can chalk mark this. It's a little tough. Short strokes might be the way to go. Okay, I'm gonna lift up. I'm gonna check to make sure my markings are there. Looks good. All right. So now I'm gonna mark my front. As you can see, I need 2 hands for this part of the process. Okay, I'm gonna check. It looks good. Now I'm gonna move on to this guy. Excuse me. Every time I'm on the phone or I'm recording a video, that's when my dogs decide that it's time for them to get up and start acting up the fool. You know, they're kind of like kids. As soon as mom's not paying attention, or mom's with friends, or busy doing something, like talking on the phone, all of a sudden, the kids gotta act up crazy, start bouncing off the walls. It's just the way it works. All right, looks good. I'm gonna flip it to get the second side. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna keep moving upward this way. Again, I'm making sure that I'm maintaining the green line. Okay, so I got both my gloves, I got my back, I got my front. Now it's time for the baby doll piece. And that's this long piece. This long piece, I actually can cut it this way, and I'm going to tell you why. This isn't getting, this is kind of like a loose piece, so it's not really closing in the front or the back or anywhere. It's loose, it's free hanging. So the amount of stretch one way versus the other is not really detrimental for this piece. So I can lay it this way. These fabric weights, I grabbed them at Ace Hardware. No, not Ace Hardware. Sorry, Ace Sewing Supplies in downtown LA. But there's also IDS in LA. They also sell sewing tools, and they might actually have a better price than Ace. Ace kind of capitalizes on their location because they're right there in the fabric district. But if you don't mind driving just a few blocks down, you might want to look up IDS. Okay, I'm just checking that my markings all make sense, and that I'm not missing a chunk. I'm gonna sharpen up the scissors. These are my favorite scissors. I do have these guys, the Gingers. You know the Gingers. They're really good scissors. Hey, I don't know. I still love my sisters. I love that I can sharpen them. I don't know what I want to do without your hands. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna start cutting. Yay! What is it, pig pig? Of course you want to play right now. It's my shoe. Cutie pie. Okay. Sometimes I like to work in phases, so maybe I'll do my patterning one day. I'll do my cutting of the fabric the next day, and then my sewing on the third day. Just to get a mental break. You know, you really are using different parts of your brain. Or at least that's what I think anyway. I feel like I'm using different parts of my brain during the different phases of making garments. And so let's space it out. That's just me. And it does take time and practice. You know, I mean, cutting the swimsuit fabric maybe is not like the fastest, easiest fabric to cut because it's so slinky and it retracts and it moves. But truth be told, a lot of different fabrics do that. So, and also, you know, if I wanted this to move a little faster, what I should have done is I should have laid down some paper, some like brown crafting paper. Cut it out! See what I tell you? They act crazy. All of a sudden, mom's not paying attention, and they gotta act up like fools. Bunch of fools up in here. One cup. Yes, next time I cut, I will definitely lay down some paper because it just moves so much better, so much smoother. I don't know. I was being lazy. See, this is why it doesn't pay to be lazy. It just doesn't. Okay, let me get this side. Okay. And this is my, what I call my proto. So I've already fit this 3D. I've shared those images on my social media handles previously. So this is really actually more like the first fit. All right, next thing, now that I have these self pieces cut out, I actually have to cut out the lining next. And the only thing I'm not going to cut a lining out is going to be for the baby doll bottom part. That does not need to be lined, but the other pieces do. So let me get my lining. So I went shopping to downtown LA for fabrics, and they did not have swimsuit lining. So I'm gonna have to find a place to get it, because downtown LA is not the place. So again, I'm looking for ways to not waste fabric. And perhaps I should lay some paper down. So let me lay some paper down. The kind of paper I like to use is brown paper. But people use tissue paper for this. Tissue paper is a really nice paper to use. It's lighter in weight, it's less stiff. Okay. Let's see if I can fit a bra cup in there. Voila. So I'm going to rinse and repeat. I'm going to mark everything first with my chalk. I believe these chalks I purchased online, and they're a little waxy, which I don't know that I like it for this use. It's not doing it for me. Perhaps it would have been better for me to have a chalk that's more on the chalkier side. You know, there's different types, and you should try all the different types because they work differently on different fabrics. You know, they're going to glide differently. So like I said, I purchased this online. Okay. So since this is lining, let me tell you something. Since this is lining, I want to cut it a little bit smaller than my self fabric. So in reality, I should have made a secondary pattern piece specific for lining. I don't know why I decided to be lazy. You know what it is? I think it's because it's the first fit and I'm wanting to work fast, but you should not do what I am doing. You should definitely be more thorough than I am being. And normally I am more thorough, but today, because I want to get things moving, I am not being thorough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to mark 1/4 of an inch off of my lining piece. Because I do want my lining to be smaller than my self fabric. Okay, since I already marked the one, I'm going to do something I don't normally do. I'm going to double up my fabric so that I just have to cut this out once. I don't usually do this because why don't I usually do this? I don't like to cut on the double. I think that things tend to shift around when you do that. In this case, though, this fabric is not very slippery. It's actually kind of slubby. It's kind of grippy. And so I'm not concerned with it moving around. I've got it all on my paper. The reason why I'm going to cut double is because I had to mark. You saw I had to remove a ton of excess fabric there. Maybe to get me started, I anchor that side down. And I'm just going to come in from here. Okay, here we go. Get that out of the way. See how I didn't struggle as much cutting around the pieces? It's because of that paper. It makes a difference. Brown paper, I think I purchased it at either IDS or Ace Sewing Supply. I don't know which one. One of those guys. Probably IDS. All right, both of my lining cuts are donezo. Now I am moving on to, what else did I tell you I was going to cut out of lining? The bottoms. The bottoms. Okay. I'm going to say these going to apply to the bottom. I need to remove 3/16, a quarter of an inch from the perimeter because I want my lining to be smaller than my self fabric. A lot of attention and care goes into spreading and cutting. In fact, it's one of the things I call out in my manufacturers is, you know, did they spread and cut the fabric correctly? Because it can make or break the sewing or the sewing phase of a garment. Okay, here we go. Checking to make sure my markings are where they need to be so that I don't have to guess. All right, so let me proceed. Oh, that's right, I have to remove 3/16, a quarter of an inch. Okay, here we go. So, for people who say, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they're charging, $200 for a swimsuit or $100 for a swimsuit. Girl, do you see how long it's taking me to cut this? Do you see how much I have to zhuzh? I mean, people have to eat. Shit. Can't be giving this stuff away for free. I'm sure if you want to make your own bathing suit, more power to you. Go for it, girl. I champion you to do so. I think it wasn't until I made my first pair of jeans that I realized, holy shit, that's why jeans are so damn expensive. There's so many pattern pieces that go into making a pair of jeans. And the same goes for bras. I think there's like 100 pattern pieces in one bra. Something like that. That's a lot of cutting and sewing and spreading. And granted, in manufacturing sites, they probably have laser cutters and they can cut a whole bunch of fabric at the same time. Great. Good for them. Yay. That's not the case here, though. This is the behind the scenes of how to cut swim fabric. And as you can see, ain't no laser show happening here. This is a real woman bent over a table, compromising her future posture for the sake of, oh shit, I forgot to remove it. See, I'm too busy talking, I forgot to remove the excess. Dang it. Yeah. Anyways, as I was saying, cheap product isn't cheap. Someone's paying the price. So if you're gonna, support small businesses, go all in. Support a small business and know that you are supporting a real human being. Not that you're not when you're buying mass-produced products, but the benefit of getting something made to your measurements is that it was made for you. That's right, it was made for you, not for the masses. As you already know, standard sizing does not work for everybody. It's never meant to work for everybody. It's just meant to get to the finish line. When we treat alterations and dressmaking like it's, a luxury, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Unless you like looking like a slopopotamus, and that's on you. That's good. That's cool. You do you. Okay, I'm trimming. Off that excess that I forgot to trim off earlier when I laid down my first cut. Don't forget the pyramid notches. Hooray! We done those. That's the benefit of using paper. Now, word on the street is women are not liking how the rubber elastic pinches in at the leg line and the waist. So they're seeking a softer elastic, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a softer elastic. Let's see what I got. Okay, so in swim we use rubber elastic. We don't use these elastics. But it looks like if you guys don't care and you really want something softer like a lingerie elastic, which is not intended for athleticism. So these bathing suits with the soft elastic is not for you to go swimming. It's just for you to take pictures. It's for you to pose for pictures, and that's it. So we could try this. This is pretty soft. This is rigid. That's not going to work. These are those softer elastics. They're typically used in lingerie. You see them for panties and whatnot. So it looks like this is what you guys are wanting. This is my little sample stash that I have. Nope. This one's nice, but it's just not enough. Not enough yardage here. So I'm gonna have to go with this guy. But it's black. So I mean for the sample it should be fine. And it's a good test. But for the green fabric, what I really should be using is a white. I don't have a white, so, and this is just the first sample. So I'm gonna use the black, and then I gotta start looking for some lingerie elastic that will work for the swimsuit, because my customer doesn't want the rubber elastic. It just pinches too much, cuts in at the leg line, cuts in at the waist, makes her feel like a not happy. Let me try this. Let's see what this is. No, still too rigid. This is a braided elastic from Dritz. I most likely purchased this from Joann's when they were open. I know, this is not what I want. It's too rigid. It's gotta be softer. All right. Okay, the next piece is this. So I already know that I'm gonna need elastic. Oh boy, I hope I did cut the correct piece. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. Okay. I need to determine how much elastic I need. So in order to do that, I have to measure my leg line. So I'm gonna measure the back. I'm gonna measure the front. I'm gonna do the same for the back waist. I'm gonna do the same for the front waist. I'm gonna do the same for the inside of the bra cup, the outside edge of the bra cup. Not so much the underside, but I'm still gonna measure it just in case, because this is an H cup. And maybe she could benefit from some elastic. I'm not sure I'm going to use it, but I'm going to measure it anyway. And the way I like to do that is with my handy dandy rig ruler. So I walk my ruler, pay attention, my ruler around. This is 8 1/8. I'm going to write down my measurement and do the same for the outside. Walk it, walk it, walk it. Notice I don't race to the finish line. So this is 2, 4, 6, 7 16. So 7 7/16, almost a half. Let's do the underside. Pivoting slowly, slowly, slowly. 4 3/8 on this side. Gonna do it again on this other side. This is 4 3/8 as well. It's not 4 3/8. It's really 4 5/16. Let's be accurate. Okay, let's do it on this side. And notice I'm measuring from the inside of the pattern piece and not on the outside. We only need to measure one leg, since this pattern piece is symmetrical. One front leg will do. We'll cut the same length for the other side. And this is measuring 11 7/8. My front waist measures 10 inches. And we'll do the back waist. Since this piece is symmetrical, I'm going to just measure to the center line. So it's 8 5/8. Half of the back waist is 8 5/8. I might even add an arrow just to remind myself, hey girl, you only measured half, remember. So you're going to have to double up that measurement. Okay, and then I'm going to measure the back leg. Giving my time to stop and pivot as needed. Okay, and this one is measuring 13 for the back. All right. Do I have anything? I sure do. Okay. So now the question is, how much do I reduce, right? Because if I just cut my elastic to these measurements, then it's not gonna hug her shape, and that's an issue. So traditionally, we want to reduce it about an inch in the back and about half an inch right in this like crotch portion from this line down, because we don't want the bits to fall out. Again, this is not an actual swimsuit. This is not athletic for athletic use. This is already a soft elastic. But that's the method I'm going to use. Remember, this is my first fit. And we'll adjust it as needed. So if this is 11 7/8, and I'm going to take away a half an inch, that's 4/8, right? That means that I need 11 3/8 of elastic for my front. I'm going to circle it. It's for my elastic. This I told you we're going to take away 1 inch. So my elastic is going to measure 12 inches there. So when I add those two numbers up, 11 3/8 plus 12, my finished elastic is going to be 21, 23 3/8. So 23 3/8, but I also need an overlap. It's going to be like an inch overlap. Let's make it a half an inch overlap. So if I said 23 3/8 plus half an inch, so 23 3/8 is my finished elastic plus half an inch. It's going to be 4/8. I'm down to 23 7/8 inch elastic. For simple math, let's just say, let's round up that 1/8, and let's just say we're going to cut 24 inches of elastic. So I'm going to write it here. 24 inches cut elastic for the leg only. That's for the leg only, okay? The front and the back leg. The total leg needs 24 inches of elastic. Because it's a high, remember, it's a high leg. It's cheeky, right? This is 24 inches right here, boom. So this is what I need right here. I'm just gonna cut it for you guys. And it gets overlapped, half an inch. That's the half an inch, see? Boom, overlap it. This goes around the whole leg. It's high leg, it's cheeky. I also don't need it to be this wide, so I'm going to cut it down the middle. This is a fold over elastic used for lingerie. So let me just separate it into two pieces. Ideally, you want your elastic to be not a fold over, so you don't have to separate it the way I am. You want it to be in the finished width that you are wanting. This looks like it's 3/8, but it might be half an inch. Let me see. Yeah, so this is half an inch wide. It's going to be too wide for my customer. I already know, but it's okay. It's the first fit. It's the first fit, and when I get the real elastic, I'm going to go for 3/8 to 1/4 inch. Depends. I'm going to listen to her feedback when she comes to fit. So, all right, it's time to do some more math. So 8 5/8 times 2 is going to give me 1 1/4 plus 16 inches. So this is going to be 17 1/4 from side seam to side seam. That's just for the back. 17 1/4 plus 10 inches. What does that equal? 27 1/4. So 27 1/4. And I can't leave it at that because it might dig. I'm going to say, let me just get rid of 1 inch. Why? Because she doesn't want this to dig into her skin. She doesn't want it to be pinched. And so I want to be mindful of that. This is a softer elastic. So we'll just go minus an inch. It's going to give me 26 1/4. For simplicity's sake, let me just round down to 26. So that's going to be my 26. I need that half an inch. Remember that half an inch overlap? So it's going to be 26 1/2 cut elastic for the entire waist circumference. And that includes that half inch overlap. So 26 1/2. Okay, so let's do that. Let's just cut it now. Let's get it over with. It's going to be okay. So I've got 24. $26 and a half C's, right? And half C's. So it's right there. And what am I going to do to this other piece? I'm going to separate it. I only need one of these because I don't have two waists. I just have one waist. And because I don't want to make a mistake later on and accidentally attach this to the leg, I'm going to go ahead and pin it with a safety pin. That tells me this is my waist elastic, not my leg elastic. Okay. Now what are we going to do about the bust, right? The bust, what I want to do with the bust is I want to reduce the elastic a half an inch on the outside and half an inch on the inside. That's going to be the best way to handle this. I wouldn't do any more than that, okay? So if I'm at 8 1/8, let's just round down for simplicity's sake. That's 8. I'm going to take away the half an inch, and that's going to give me 7 1/2. But remember, I have a half an inch. No, I don't have a half an inch. There's no overlap here. This is not a circumference. This is just a flat piece of elastic. So I'm only taking away a half an inch. So my cut elastic for the inside is 7 1/2 C's. That's that guy. This one is 7 7/8. It's almost 7 1/2. Let's just call it 7 1/2. Minus a half. My cut elastic is going to be 7 inches here. Okay. Okay, so for this guy, the underside, let's say 4 3/8. 4 4/16, 4 1/4. Let's just round up to 4 3/8 times 2. All right, that's going to be 8 3/4. 8 3/4 minus a half gives me 8 1/4. So my cut elastic under this guy at the under bust is going to be 8 1/4. I'm wondering if I should do more than that. I'm just going to start with the half. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. The reason why I'm only going to reduce my cut elastic half an inch here is because I've already darted it out. Yes, this is a triangle bikini top, but it's also for an H cup. She needs more shaping. She needs maybe even more support, which is why I want to have that extra elastic in there, just so she feels a little bit more secure and inside her top. I'm taking away a half here, and a half here, and I think that's going to be enough for shaping. And we won't know for sure until we try it on her. I've already tested it on the dress, on the 3D avatar, but that's 3D, and proof is going to be in the pudding when we see it on a real live person. There might be some tweaks. That's my suspicion. All right, so we're good, right? We know what we're doing? We know what we're doing. All right, so that extra piece, this guy that I cut out, this is my 7 1/2 C's. And I need 2 of these guys. So 7 1/2 times 2. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pin it to my counter piece on the inside. This way I know, okay, these pieces are for my inside. I already got 2, one for the right, one for the left. Now I need 7 inches for the outside. So here we go, 7 inches. I don't have quite enough for the other half, but at least I can get 1. And I'm going to cut the second one. Okay, there's my second 7. So now all of my elastics are cut. Oh my gosh, and what? I can't believe it. So let's marry our pieces together. This is for the front. This is my bib. Oh, my baby doll. I don't know why I keep wanting to say bib. Okay, these are my bra covers. Like that. And so it's been an hour and 10 minutes. I was doing all of that. Math, cutting. All right, next step, sewing.